where do you think the most important person will be sitting?
Lower their glass, and then you might try and follow up with their glass, and sometimes you might actually go all the way down to the floor.
Hey guys and girls on Ask Japanese, it's Kathy Cat. This time we are gonna talk about 5 Japanese drinking hacks you need to know when you are going for drinks with your colleagues in Japan. You can seriously jeopardize your job if you don't know about these, so watch out for them and let's go. Number 1, the seat of God. Now when you go for drinks with your colleagues, it's not a must, but you generally should go if you are invited with your colleagues to go for drinks, because there a lot of important communication is happening. Nomikai, going for drinks, and communication is put together in Japanese into nominication, meaning there is some kind of conversation that Japanese people will feel more comfortable saying, or some things they will feel more comfortable portraying when they are kind of drunk or in that kind of environment. So your boss might give you some hints of how to work better. Your colleagues might tell you, hey, you actually shouldn't be doing that, without, losing face for you, for them. So that kind of communication is super, super important, and it can help you a lot with your career. However, the first thing you can already do wrong is when you enter the izakaya, the bar, the restaurant, and you sit down on a seat, you might already ruin yourself something there. I had that one of the first nomikais I went to with my company. I had a nice seat and I was like, oh, this is the seat, I'm gonna sit there right at the corner. And one of my colleagues was like, hey Kathy, get up. You can't sit in that seat. Sit over there. And I was surprised to realize that there is an order in which people sit in restaurants, in bars, in izakayas, and generally the order goes by priority, by rank. Okay, look at the picture. Where do you think the most important person will be sitting? Right, watch where the door is. Number 1 is usually the highest ranking person, might be the boss, the CEO, the big man, or woman, sitting there, and then opposite of him is usually the vice president, the vice something. So usually the very important people sit right at that end, and then seat 3 and then going down is usually office workers, and they're sitting in the order depending how long they have worked for that company, meaning the longer they've worked for that company, the higher in status they are, the closer they're sitting to the big bosses. And then closest to the doors are the new entries into the company. They might be fairly young, might only be working in the first year or the second year, and they sit closest to the door. Now, why is that? Now, the Kamiza rules apply not just for drinking, but also for meetings and similar. So remember, here is the door. The seat closest to the door is the shimoza, the lowest seat. That might be the people who just joined the company in similar. They're the ones who have to be the runners if case something's happening. And the highest person of the meeting, the highest person of the company or such will be sitting here, the seat the furthest away from the door in which I just entered. So that is generally a rule of thumb how you can remember that. And that's pretty much, if you think of the old samurai times when people might storm in with their swords and they're there to kill someone, that's what this seat is the most protected, meaning all the other people can now jump to their feet, pull their knives and fight off the intruder, while this person here is fairly safe and protected. NEXT! Number 2, pouring drinks. That is a vital part of nominication. You generally do never pour your own drink. You generally go and pour drinks for other people, and then in return they might pour a drink for you. That's a very, very Japanese thing, and I must say I actually like the idea of like we are all together, we are a circle, so we look after each other. But if you are a starter in a company, you might be the new guy or the new girl entering, you generally should look out for the other people's drinks, see if they're going down, and if it looks like the drink is almost done, maybe you can order them a new drink, or if you happen to have a bottle that is shared around, pour them a drink. So generally for good communication, what I can recommend you guys is if they all have a bottle of beer, and usually Japanese people do surprisingly start off the evening with beer, check those bottles of beer, see if anyone's glasses is going down, and then offer to pour them a drink. That is so vital, and if you know that, I wish I knew all of this when I came, you can really get some brownie points there. So make sure that you pour drinks for your colleagues. Now, if you think, oh, I can pour a drink for someone else, you might actually be wrong, because there are a couple of rules that I'll teach you now. I wish I'd known those when I came to Japan at first, so watch out for these. So here we are. First of all, when you grab the bottle, you shouldn't actually be touching the whole bottle because it will make people think that you're warming up the beer or whichever the other drink it is. So you should actually just touch the bottle with your fingertips. Also, another thing you have to look after is the label should be visible. The label should be on top when you pour a drink. That's to let the person know who you're pouring the drink for, may it be the boss or just a colleague, what kind of drink they're actually drinking. So it lets them know what they can expect. I think it's like this. And apparently it also comes from chemistry. You know, when people were pouring chemical ingredients, you know, they make sure that the label is on top so they know what they're pouring. I don't know how applicable that is to drinking with colleagues, but yes, the label has to be on top, and don't warm up the bottle with your hands, only touch it with your fingertips. Ooh. Number 3, how to pour beer. Beer is a whole new world. You might have already been able to pour another drink, but beer, which is the most commonly drunk thing, that's usually how the party starts, or the nomikai starts, has its own rules all over again. So the label thing counts and the finger thing counts, but there's also a way to pour the beer so there's not too much foam and to get the balance right. If you do that right, you definitely get some brownie points, but it's kind of complicated. I hope I get it right. So apparently, first of all, you pour slowly about 30%, about up to here. Then faster, you pour about 40%, and then again you go slower for 30%, and that should put the bubbles on top for around like 30% of the drink, and that's the right way of pouring it. I have never gotten that right though, so let's see. Let's see if I can do it right this time. Ideally, if I do it right, there should be 80% of liquid and then 20% of bubbles in this cup if I do this right. I hope I get it right this time. Let's do it. Right, don't forget, move the label up. Only use your fingertips and then pour. Second, first we go slow. Slow, 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 slow. Then we go faster. And then we go slow, 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 slow. Oh man, that's almost 50-50. I don't think I did it right. Fail. Since I failed at doing that, we have a special guest! じゃじゃーん！マーコでーす。こんにちは。なんかドリンクを入れるやり方知ってるって聞いてたんですけど。
はい、知ってます。知ってるかな？ちゃんとできるかちょっと心配。
大丈夫。私より絶対できると思います。
大丈夫ですか？はい。ちょっと頑張ります。
OK、はい、お願いします。マーベラス。
一番絞りじゃん。おーい。いっぱいかな。
綺麗。
安心した。
こんな感じですね。Okay, guys, let's be honest. Which one does look better? Comment down below right now. 綺麗になりましたね。
はい。
これで社長とかにそれたら喜ぶ感じ。
上司さんとかに。どうぞ。飲んで少しなくなったらさらにどんどんついで、どうもいつもありがとうございますっていう風にやっていく。
オッケー。よーし。3、2、1、0。 Number 4, now it's time for everyone to put their glasses together, of course, usually filled. But did you know there's also a rule for that? Of course, the moment everyone puts their glasses together and cheers and goes, "Kanpai!" It's like the best woman. Like everyone seems to be like full of energy and fun and happiness. And there still is this one rule that you need to watch out for. So let me show you how it's done. I mentioned this before in our business videos. Hierarchy is so important in Japan. And similar to the kamiza, there is a hierarchy also when you put your glasses together. You can't go all together like this. If the boss holds the glass, it is good manner to hold the glass just slightly lower than him. Again, he's higher in hierarchy, you're lower in hierarchy, and you should be putting your glass a little bit lower. But what you generally see if you're, for example, working with colleagues who are maybe a little bit longer in the company than you are, they might not care about this and they might actually try and lower their glass, and then you might try and follow up with their glass, and sometimes you might actually go all the way down to the floor. That's some people really care about the hierarchy, but recently nowadays there are also a couple of companies who are a bit more relaxed with these things. However, knowing this cannot harm, and if you happen to work with a very conservative company, then knowing these rules comes in quite handy. Number 5, the second appreciation. Now, the evening draws to an end and you might have a nijikai, meaning you're moving from one izakaya or bar to a second one maybe. You know, see how you feel. This is usually a good point to drop out, but if you feel like hanging out a little bit longer, go to the nijikai. If the boss is going to the nijikai, generally it's good manners to go. If the boss drops out and goes home earlier, it's easy for you to go home, and make sure that you say thanks to everyone involved, give them a big bow, and then go home. Now on the next day, you might actually get an email saying thanks for coming to the nomikai last night. Now this is again a way of, you know, when you bow to someone in Japan, they generally bow back. Then you might bow and they might bow back to you. And it's a general, you know, culture of being kind and appreciating everyone. So this is kind of the second appreciation. First you say thanks on the night, on the end of the night, and then on the next day you say thanks again. And that also ties in sometimes during these nomikais, the higher ranking people of the company will pay more towards the bill. So for example, the highest person might pay a lot, the vice person might still pay a lot, and then your senpai, the higher ranking people, might pay maybe 3,000 yen, and in the end tell you that you only need to pay 2,000 yen. That might happen, it depends really on the company. Sometimes even the boss will pay for everyone, but you know, it's good manners then on the next day to say, hey, thank you very much for the nomikai, and also, you know, paying part of the bill. But yeah. So that's again, it is like when you go, for example, and make a wish at a shrine, and you bow and make a wish. Many people, once that wish has come true, will go back to the shrine on a different day, week or month even, and then say thank you for making my wish come true. And that kind of give and take and showing appreciation and thanks ties back into the Japanese culture. So now you know that you do a lot for the people that are higher in hierarchy, but the people who are high in hierarchy will also give something back to the ones who have lower hierarchy in the company in the form of, you know, taking them out for drinks, paying a little bit more of the bill and similar things like that. Now, all these things you heard about, they are changing. There are a lot of rules that used to be very strict. For example, you couldn't leave a nomikai until the boss was leaving a nomikai and such, or, you know, sometimes people were pressuring other people to drink more. All of these things are now part of harassment at the office. You don't have to do that anymore. If you're curious about types of harassment at the office, we have a whole video about different types of harassment that can happen at the office place here in Japan, so just watch out for those. And well, like I said, Japan is changing, a lot of things are changing, but it's good to know these rules. I wish I'd known these rules before I came to Japan, and if you know these rules as a foreigner and just a little bit, you know, are aware of them and take care of them, it will make you look so much better in the eyes of your colleagues, and they might even tell you, you don't need to do that. But knowing them definitely gives you some brownie points, so remember them. Knowing where the highest person of the table has to sit is a skill that's kind of tricky especially for people who are new to the whole hierarchy and ranking thing, but all those skills that I taught you today come in so handy. And like I said, I wish I'd known those before I come. You don't have to do them in some societies and some companies. They're totally fine with that. But here you should kind of know them a little bit. It might help you in your career. Now, which of these points surprised you the most? And is there anything similar in your country? Any kind of drinking rules they have to do if you go out with colleagues? Let us know in the comments down below. I hope you could take something away from this. Please don't forget to give us a like just to say thanks for this. And if you found this helpful, we need that like. And I hope you will actually subscribe if you haven't already, because there's more stuff that we're teaching you guys here about Japanese culture coming up from Tokyo to you. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you soon for more stuff here from Tokyo with Ask Japanese. See you guys. Bye.